Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Coast Legal Aid of South Florida's Family Law Virtual Clinic. Today, we'll begin with an important update from Representative Mike Gottlieb on the new Hope Card program, followed by a walkthrough of the OurFamilyWizard co-parenting app. We hope you find these resources helpful. Let's get started.
This presentation is not intended to provide specific legal advice. Information is current as of March 28, 2025.
So my name is Mike Gottlieb. I'm a criminal defense lawyer. I've practiced criminal defense for 33 years in Broward County. I've been elected to the Florida State Legislature. I've been here since 2018. And last year, Stephanie Newman, who is the head of Broward County State Attorney Domestic Violence Unit, asked me would I be interested in running a bill. I read the bill and I thought it was fantastic because I remember back in the day when somebody got a restraining order, they used to have to carry around the emergency package with them. And that packet had the restraining order, so on and so forth. But law enforcement still had to verify that it was correct, even though it was in a sealed envelope. And we live in the information age and the technology age, and there's no reason now why people can't have a card that they carry with them that they can simply take, out of their pocket, hold it up like this, give it to a law enforcement officer and say, what's issued on this card shows that I have a valid in-force restraining order. The card, so what happens is, if you have a restraining order, and you are the petitioner, and if it's granted within 3 days of the granting of the restraining order, you shall be at your request issued at no expense a Hope card. And the amazing thing about it is when it came to my attention and was called the Hope card, I didn't really realize the impact that it would have. And I've spoken to several clerks and they've told me how women in particular have been issued the card they just get this overwhelming sense of security. Now, one could argue it's a false sense of security, but at least it's a sense of security. They know that they have that with them, and if they see the person that's been harassing them or has attacked them, their respondent, they give it to law enforcement, and that it's been beneficial to law enforcement because they can verify right then and there everybody's name is accurate on the card, the case number is accurate on the card. And it's a law enforcement tool. Instead of waiting what could be minutes to hours to verify through a teletype, law enforcement has this information at their fingertips. And so, as I said before, it's issued upon granting of a restraining order. It must be issued within 3 days. There's no cost to it. It stays in effect as a card, a wallet-sized card laminated for 2 years. And we also put some safeguards in there. If somebody misuses the card, meaning it's no longer in effect, it got dismissed, and they still have the card and they misuse it, they're subject to penalties and punishment. So, that's really what I have to say about it. I really look forward to working with Coast to Coast Legal Aid, and helping you all protect your petitioners and the ability to continue to use this card in the future.
Up next, a discussion of the OurFamilyWizard co-parenting app.
Good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you are when you're listening. Thank you all for joining. It is truly my honor and pleasure to present to you all. So I thank Coast to Coast Legal Aid of South Florida and the team over there for allowing me this wonderful opportunity. My name is Rebecca. I am a former family lawyer. I have turned mediator, really, and I work for OurFamilyWizard. And currently these days, I pretty much am mediating or working for OurFamilyWizard. I've loved OurFamilyWizard for a very long time. Before I worked for them, currently working for them. I think it's a truly incredible tool. And I think, honestly, in domestic violence cases, I don't think it's a negotiable tool. And it is a free tool for anyone going through a domestic violence case. So I'm just going to go through some slides here just to kind of give a broad overview. I do like to talk about the origins of OFW It's not a new product. It's been around about 20, 21 years. And it was actually started as a pilot program out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. It was started to basically keep the families out of court. It was started to better communication. It started with a mission to helping families living separately thrive. And honestly, that's our mission today. We still have the same mission to help families living separately thrive. So I do like to show that. I'm going to show this slide. I think this shows our full suite of features best. I like to refer to it as like a co-parenting ecosystem because it takes your co-parenting journey from 20 different places and puts it in one happy little place. The calls are the newest part of this ecosystem, if you will, but I think they were necessary to complete our full suite of features. We develop each and every single tool with survivors of domestic violence in mind, and you'll see that as I get more into the details of the platform. The calls. Simple, secure way for you to stay connected with your co-parent while in a safe atmosphere. These calls are placed through the app. There's never a need to exchange any phone numbers, anything really. Everything is placed through the app through either Wi-Fi or cell data. This can become important because if you don't have cell data, you can hop on any Wi-Fi. After we had some hurricanes in my area, I received positive feedback because the parents could go to a local library and get on the Wi-Fi and place calls to the co-parent. It can help build consistent communication between the parents and the children when they aren't together, but in a safe space. We are always, as I mentioned, always mindful of survivors of domestic violence. This is very permission-based. It is permission-based for the audio and the video. So there's two types of calls. There's first unrecorded and part two is recorded. And they can choose. They don't have to select one or the other. This is showing an example of an unrecorded call. Again, keeping domestic violence in mind, they would always have to consent to both the audio and video because maybe you're in a domestic violence shelter, maybe you're not in a space where you feel safe or comfortable with the other parent seeing where you are. So in that case, you can consent just to audio, not to video. It's never a problem. And you will have to consent, and so will the other parent each and every time. The reason is to keep survivors safe. So we always keep that in mind. Our app does not track you or follow anyone for that matter. So they can, there's no tracking or following through our app. It doesn't compromise anyone's location. And the calls use the internet, not phone numbers. For the calls, again, this just shows it's a quick toggle for the consent. It's not complicated. It's not difficult. It's going to happen every time because, again, you might be in a safe or a survivor might be in a safe space one time, and then the next day they're not in a safe space where they can be on camera. So it will require consent each and every time. You're going to have basically these calling reports are going to provide so much detail, whether it's unrecorded or recorded. Call recordings and transcripts. I tell people all the time, no one will end up recorded accidentally. This is also extremely permission-based. The person placing the call has to consent to it being recorded. The person on the receiving end has to consent to being recorded. And you will also see a recording button. Now, in everything I am showing you, our platform is always free for survivors of domestic violence. Always, no questions asked. And with that, our general fee waiver, which is available to so many people represented low bono, pro bono, receiving public assistance, deemed indigent, our regular fee waivers, if you will, or free accounts cover unlimited voice, video, unrecorded calls. For the DV space, we go one step further. So not only will they have unlimited unrecorded voice video calls, if it is a DV case and it's emailed to me or whatever and indicated such, we are able to create a free recorded version. if that's what's needed in the case to keep that individual safe. So that is a bit of, we really try to go above and beyond and really try and create an extremely safe space for everyone to communicate. Okay, so basically the call recordings and transcripts, if you look at this example on the screen, the recordings and transcripts will be available. It will be available to both the parent and it will be available to any linked professional. Who is a linked professional, you ask? That can be anyone. And all professional accounts are free. So anyone seeing this, if you need that information, please, please, please shoot me an email. I can create that at any time. If you are a linked professional I'm just looking at the name Taylor Smith, you would also have access to these recording and transcripts. So with that, it can, it's going to keep parents, I do, as a mediator, I do parenting plans quite a bit. Generally, there's a call ordered maybe once a week, 30 minutes. You're going to get all the details from these calls, recorded and non-recorded. There's still a ton of details in these. It provides, the recording especially can provide a monitor means of communication. And I should say the free accounts, if there is one individual that's currently incarcerated, what I can do is create it for the the survivor of the domestic violence, not incarcerated. And then when the person gets out of being incarcerated, they can contact our customer support and we can create that. But in the meantime, we can create the free account for the DV survivor. Okay, so our call activity reports, just like any other reports, are just going to provide so much detail. Any reports can be pulled from not only the parents, but also the linked professionals as well. You're going to get the full details of all these calls. Who consented? Did somebody withdraw consent? Did they mute their camera? Did they turn their camera on? I like to say these reports really get away from the game playing and the back and forth and the gray area. Like if you're supposed to have a 30-minute call and somebody's muted or off camera for 29 of those minutes and they're just, doing these kind of manipulative games, that's going to become abundantly clear in these reports. And again, if you are a linked professional, you can pull these as well. You don't need to rely on clients to provide this. So, you get back from PTO, you have a Monday morning hearing, you can pull this. Makes it a lot easier. A lot of detail on these. A call transcript is exactly like you would expect it to be, but it is available if they have the recorded version. Our messaging, I think for anyone who knows our Family Wizard, our messaging is kind of the feature everybody's aware of. But still, I like to, tell, especially in a space of domestic violence, this is truly one of the biggest reasons I don't think it's a negotiable tool. I mean, these days, it is so very easy to manipulate a text, to manipulate an email, a Google Calendar. Our messages, and when I present, I show this, our messages cannot be edited or deleted. Once they are sent, they are sent. If someone found a message upsetting, they can archive it, but it does not, I repeat, does not go away. It will live there. And a big distinction with our platform versus other platforms, even if they go off the platform, let's say, they come back post-judgment, their accounts live on. We do not delete accounts. So our messages will be time-stamped. They will be viewed. It will show if it was viewed, if it was sent, if it was received. And we do offer tone meter in all of our packages. Tone meter is basically an emotional spell check. It's going to look at the language and it's going to say hey, this could be deemed negative. Now, I say this, parents don't need to follow it. They can, and that's great, but they don't need to. The reason being too, and tone meter also, I should say, is not going to end up in any printed reports. The reason for that, tone meter was, the intent behind the tone meter was to create a tool to help parents communicate better. It wasn't intended to litigate. It wasn't intended to be a tool to litigate over. But it's a really nice tool, especially if co-parents just are having a little difficulty communicating and keeping a positive communication going. Our message reports are available to both parents and any linked professionals. They're going to be stamped with the date and time they were generated. And you're going to see in this example, you see if something was viewed. You'd also see if something was not viewed, which can be really helpful as well. Our calendar, we've made some really, really, really nice changes to the calendar. I'm a very visual person, so I appreciate that it's been color coded for ease of use. It's going to be color coded down to pick up and drop off time, which again, I appreciate because I'm a very visual person. Parents can print this calendar out. They can put it on their fridge. They can do whatever they want with it. They can even, import a Google Cal to this. They can import like a calendar, but the calendar cannot be, the best thing is with this calendar, you can include other calendars, but it won't change the heart of the OFW calendar. The records are going to be clear, the records are going to be concise, and the history cannot be rewritten, if you will. Once an event occurs, they cannot go back and change it. And parents cannot edit each other's events. So if, parent A creates an event, parent B cannot change it. We do offer the more common templates for some of the more common rotations. We have a 2233, 2255. Do they have to use these? No, but it was intended to be helpful to the parents. My apologies, my dogs. Sorry about that. So holidays are personal to the families. So with the holidays, we do not auto-populate those. They put them in for their own use, and then it's going to automatically update the calendar. The events are going to be color-coded by pickup and drop-off responsibilities. There will be clear records of when an event was created. You'll also get any records of if an event was deleted, or not deleted, excuse me, was edited. Schedule change request lives within the calendar. This is a tool that was intended for parents to make small adjustments to their parenting schedule without having to relitigate, without having to go back to court. It's really intended to help the parents make small changes on their own. A parent provides a short reason, a time, and a response date, and they can swap or trade parenting time. If the parent approves it, it's going directly on the calendar. As you can see here, I like showing this slide because it will show clearly that they have to respond by X time. So again, it takes out any sort of game playing in this regard. You cannot get an 11:59 a.m. change for a noon schedule change request. They set their own deadline. So let me go. And these, like everything else, have reports. And this is one of my favorite reports because when I mediate, I do family and dependency mediations. And I think that this report really shows flexibility. Are the parents working together to make these small changes? I don't know. If I'm looking at a page full of refusals, well, maybe the other parent could be a little more flexible. If I'm looking at, a page of approvals, okay, maybe they're working together. As there might be a parent trying to work a new job, there's so many different circumstances in co-parenting that require flexibility. And I think this is probably one of my favorite tools in OFW because it just allows parents to make these small changes, empowers them to make these small changes. And all these changes, it lives now outside of the messaging. So you're not bogging down your messaging. You can put it right here. And again, you'll see if it was refused. Now, next feature our journal. There's two parts, and there's especially one I like to discuss a little because I think it's important, particularly in domestic violence cases. There's two parts to the journal. There's moments and there's check-ins. So the first one I'm going to show you is moments. This is basically, I've heard it called a closed social media. They can share pictures. They can tag any location. So, maybe they went to go visit their parents in Alabama. I'm just saying a state. They don't need to be in Alabama. They can be back home in Florida and just, hey, here's a couple. It's going to function almost similar to like a Facebook, how you can say you're anywhere. It's not going to verify your data. we do scrub the metadata from the photos, and I think that's critical. Again, we are always mindful of domestic violence cases. They can tag any location. This can be a wonderful trust building tool, especially as they're, in two households, probably shouldn't be on social media with one another. It can be a really nice trust building tool. Maybe just a quick picture. Hey, here's Nina doing her homework, whatever it might be. Now, the second one, this is really important. I think this is a tremendous tool for any domestic violence case. Because one, you can confirm, like, this is if there's a rocky exchange, they're exchanging at a sheriff's office. Our check-in feature is fantastic. This is going to be GPS verified. They have to be within 500 feet. So again, they're checking in the sheriff's office, the Manatee County Sheriff's Office. They have to be within 500 feet of that. Our app does not follow any parents. So they do have to give permission. And I'll show you that in 1 second. It's that quick toggle. That's all it is location sharing enabled. It will prompt them and it automatically defaults to off. It's a really great tool if they're having a rocky exchange. And I gave an example even earlier today about, I was mediating a case and it was a Manatee County case, and there's this massive park. And one parent was on one side, one parent was on the other. They're both saying they're there. Maybe they were, but I wish they had this tool because there was no proving if anyone was telling the truth. One parent was saying they weren't there. The other parent was saying the same. With this tool, you can, hey, I'm within 500 feet. Here I am. I'm at the sheriff's office. And the nice thing is too, say it was a very serious domestic, any sort of domestic violence case that they don't even want to share that with the other parent. They can create a private check-in just for their linked attorney, domestic violence advocate. They can just show, hey, domestic violence advocate, here's the information. I am at the sheriff's office at 5 p.m. per our parenting plan. So it's a wonderful tool. Our app does not follow people. So it is going to require permission, and it automatically defaults to off. So as you can see here, it's a private one. So they're just creating a private moment or check-in. These will have reports just like any of the other features that are available for download and printing by both the attorney and the parent. Our info bank, I love this tool. It is not the most glamorous tool, but I think it's very good to create kind of a equal footing for both parents, because it's a storage tool essentially, but it's a really organized storage tool. You can go down to the children. You can put in vaccination records, insurance cards, pant size, shoe size. Maybe one parent has not been that involved. Maybe they want to bring the child shoe shopping, whatever. It's a really great place to store all those details of the children, school records. I always encourage parents, injunctions, out-of-state court orders, put them in the info bank. I have seen human error where, somebody didn't have their printed injunction. I don't know what happened. It got lost between two counties. I don't know, but I always encourage people, put your relevant court orders in here, let it live somewhere. And out-of-state court orders. Again, I was mediating a case. There was a CPS involvement in New York, and nobody could find the records. This would have been a great place to have it. So yeah, you can load everything. Expenses. They can pay each other anything, child support, alimony. They can track different, expenses between one another. You can search and filter. So if, this is an attorney and they come to you and say they haven't paid their half of piano lessons, you can search by different, categories or whatever. It's going to give clear progress labels, what's owed, what's been paid, what's pending. They create, kind of like the holidays, they create their own customized categories because it's very, very personal to each parent, to each family. And they create the categories and they create the percentage. So it might be a 70-30 split. It might be a 60-40 split, but they create the percentages, the categories, and it does the math for them, which, not being a math person, I really appreciate. They can attach receipts to these expenses, and then they're just going to, I think this takes away the need of exchanging paper receipts, which in my personal life, I don't love paper receipts. OFW Pay can be used. It will link up to bank accounts like a Venmo or Zelle. They can even pay child support or alimony through this should they desire. And the expense histories, they contain a concrete record of activity. You can set up scheduled payments, so any reoccurring payments on a specific day. So if they get paid on the first day of the month, they can set it up for like day 5 or day 2 or whatever. These reports are going to look slightly different. They're going to be more of a table format. It's going to say what's been owed, what's received, what's refused, what's open, and what's approved. I really like these, and when I mediate with parents, I kind of go into this expense feature because, most parenting plans I make, there's like a 30-day exchange window for receipts, and they'll say, what's a $20 copay? If that's missed, no biggie. And I say, okay, if you miss that 30-day window on a $20 copay, that's one thing. But if you miss that 30-day window for $1,500 braces, it's gonna be pretty difficult. So it keeps track of the expenses. It shows if they're following their parenting plan in time, in like terms of time frame for exchanging receipts and anything else. And again, going back to the domestic violence space, they shouldn't be exchanging receipts through kids, through anything. It just puts everything into this app and takes the contact aspect out. Professional access, always, always, always free. Domestic violence advocates can have it. Lawyers can have it. Paralegals can have it. Really, anyone can have this. It's truly critical. And I think in these kind of cases, I just don't see it as an option. Because what the nice thing is with professional access, you can like Rebecca, I can log in, I can see Sam Rogers and Taylor Smith, but it doesn't alter the records because I am logging in as Rebecca. So if I see an unread message and I read it, that's totally good. It's not going to reflect that it's read on the court records, on the printouts. This goes into creating parent accounts, but again, don't need to worry about that too much because really any accounts that involve domestic violence are always going to be free. You're going to see what's called client view mode. Basically, you're seeing what your client sees. You see Taylor Smith, the 1:57 p.m. message. If I were to click on that as Rebecca Perra, it's not going to show that it's read. I do always tell professionals, you can set an auto reply because some of the feedback I get is, geez, I don't want them thinking I'm watching the wizard all day, and I don't blame you. You're very, very, very busy. So if you set up a new account, feel free to email me. I think my email's at the end. I can, 1, set it up for you, and 2, I can walk you through like the setup of it, how to print reports, all that good stuff. So anybody feel free to contact me. You're going to see everything. You're going to see the client view mode. You're going to see what they're seeing. If they load it, were they supposed to load the insurance card? Is it in there? IP addresses can be pulled, but only by, like, the parents can't pull each other's. Parent A can pull parent A's and parent B. The only exception to this is like if a GAL is linked to both, then they could pull both. But if you are an attorney linked to parent A, you could only pull parent A's. Model order, I believe I've sent, but if I haven't, I will send these updated materials. I love a model order because I am a cutter and paster. I love cutting and pasting. I do not believe in reinventing the wheel. So I will be sure to send this. The nice thing is with the model order too, is that it takes so much out of the messaging feature and puts it in the order. It puts it in like the calendar or the trade swap, like take it out of the messaging and use these other tools. So I like the model order language. Because oftentimes I think parents will lean too heavily into the messaging and some of it doesn't need to be there. Not a problem if it's there, just kind of our plans and pricing, but again, doesn't really apply. The regular free accounts are basically the essentials level with the premium level calls. That's going to be our standard free account. Our max is the recorded call version. If it is a domestic violence case, I am happy to set that up for free. Just indicate in the email it's a domestic violence case and they would like the recorded version. It is absolutely never a problem to do. That is the exception to that being part of the general fee waiver, but it definitely is for domestic violence survivors. I do come across other co-parenting apps. I do caution, I mediate at the courts, lower income cases. Talking Parents has gotten very pricey. The only available options for free are messaging through the browser and let me see, and then some calendar, but I maybe receive a few calls. It's very, very, very limited in scope for what can be done for free. The app is going to be $144 to use and download. The calls are going to be $324 a year. So yeah, I just caution that adds up quick, and then you have additional printing and downloading costs. Our fee waiver is very, very comprehensive and available to any and all domestic violence survivors. So just reach out anytime. Strongly caution on app close if you run into it. I've run into it. I do pro bono legal work in Connecticut still, and I had a woman come to me that was court ordered to use it in an injunction case. And I learned from doing that case, you can actually block one another. So the respondent was able to disable their chat and block mom and said, blocked her, unblocked her, said, talk to my new wife, and blocked her again. It really keeps that level of control, and it's very scary to me in domestic violence cases. I would strongly recommend against using it. They can also delete their accounts at any time, and it's gone. So I just kind of caution that. If you need a free account, just again, email me anytime, because I think it's called disabling the chat, but if blocking one another kind of defeats the whole purpose of a co-parenting app. So long and short, the woman had to go back to court because they were court ordered to use app close. I don't know what came of it, but I felt it was really awful for her. Fee waiver. You can email me directly. I believe Broward has a QR code for quick fee waiver sign up. The only thing I ask is if you would like the recorded version, just email me directly. That's the easiest way to get those set up. We do have a military family discount, current, former military. It's essentially a BOGO. It can be reserved too. I was asked that as well. Customer support, they are tremendous. And if there are attorneys listening to this, if you ask for a free account, I will always respond with our customer support information. The reason being, I want you to focus to your client is they can always assist with app that a real person will answer. We have an email and we have live chat, all in English or Spanish. And I should say this, the whole thing you just saw, our whole platform is English or Spanish. So if you have a fee waiver and you need it set up in Spanish, just let me know. We're both English, Spanish available, and as is our customer support. They are tremendous. My information, I hope that you take down my email, rperra@ourfamilywizard.com. Email me any questions, big, small, in the middle, like I'm a question asker. So please, please, please feel free to reach out anytime. I have my phone number as well. That's my phone, that's my cell. So you can text me, call me, whatever. You're never out there alone, I promise. I'm here to support you, and our customer support is there to support everyone, pros, parents, but you're never alone. Your clients aren't alone. We're here to really help you and make your lives easier. Now with that, the exciting stuff, I'm going to stop sharing for one moment. I'm going to pull up the CLE information, and then we will, excuse me. Let me share that, and then you can, there it is. There's your CLE information. Reference number 2412587N. You could do General 1, Technology 1 if you're interested in the marital and family cert. There's one as well. So I really hope everybody enjoyed that, and I really can't thank you all for the opportunity. It is just my honor and pleasure to be able to present to you all. So thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us today. We hope Representative Gottlieb's Hope Card update and the Our Family Wizard demonstration give you practical steps to understand your rights and the resources available to you. We value your feedback. Please let us know in the comments which topic you'd like covered in our next virtual clinic, or visit our website for additional resources. Stay tuned in to our social media pages for our monthly episodes of Legal Learning and Fridays with Friends.